Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel. JS Dwayne here. Today's date is February the 25th, 2020, and I want to say happy belated Valentine's Day, aka Hearts Day, to all the lovebirds and single people out there, including YouTube. It's a special day where you take your lover out, have fun, enjoy your night, and have a romantic night at home instead of going out. And I don't have no sweetheart right now in my life right now, and I can't wait for that day to come for someone to appreciate me and to love me and to accept me for me, and that person be forever grateful in his life so far. But other than that, I've been very busy lately. After my seventh life, I was supposed to do a Valentine's Day, video to show love to everyone out there and to show gratitude. But I didn't really have the time, was because I've been busy working and spending time with family. And whenever I get off from work, I'd be lazy a little bit, so I just didn't really have the patience to do another video. So I decided to wait until another time for me to actually have more of a free time to record, a Valentine's Day video to show love and gratitude to everybody out there in the real world, especially on YouTube and so forth. When it comes to Valentine's Day, Valentine's Day is not really my favorite holiday because I'm barely with anyone on that holiday. And, it doesn't really pertain to me too much. So it doesn't really wow me like that in a way. It really doesn't. When I was in school, we used to have Valentine's Day parties a lot every 14th of February. Probably there's some Valentine's Day that is on a Saturday or a Sunday, but most of the time when I was in school, Valentine's Day, used to fall during the week, and we used to do parties. And like, I wasn't really infatuated with anyone or had a crush on anyone, especially for me going to school back in the day in the 90s, late 90s, and early 2000s. It really doesn't really pertain to me. So I just want to say happy Valentine's Day to all the lovebirds and single people out there. So, in today's video, I wanted to, talk about, do height really matter in relationships? Well, I will explain. So, with me, I'm over 5'10". I'm not gonna say how tall I am, but I'm over 5'10" in height. And most of my family, especially on my dad's side, like, they're short people. Like, they're not really tall people. And like, I didn't come from a tall family at all. Like, all my height that I received was on my mom's side of the family. And that's how I got in my height. And my little sister, she's tall too. Even my older siblings are tall, except for my older big sister. So I always felt that I've been dogged about my height a couple times in my life. Like, I don't think it's a big deal at all. I remember one time, I was at this festival. This one guy, he looked at me and said, "Ill," and yes, he was a gay guy. The guy was about 5'2" or 5'3", with a younger dude at that time. I'm not gonna say how old the dude was, but he was with a younger dude, like a younger boy, but I'm not even gonna get towards it. He looked at me really funny. I'm like, what is the problem? I don't think my height was a problem at all. I didn't think it would be like an important mindset towards him because we don't really know each other like that. So I don't think it would be like a big deal at that time. But during that time, I was like in my 20s. I was like 23 years old, and the guy was like 21. But my parents are like under 5'7", but over 5'4", so they're short people. And with me, I got my height from my mom's side of the family because I have tall uncles and tall aunts and tall cousins that I don't really know too well whatsoever. And I remember watching TV, like, there's some men that are very intimidated by women that are like 5'10", 5'11", 6 feet, 6'1", 6'2", and a lot of them be like, no, I prefer someone that is shorter than me. And that's the norm. Especially with women who are very short. Like, a lot of them prefer tall men. And like, I don't know, is that a fetish or anything like that? Like, a lot of short women don't like dating short men, which I find very crazy. Like, they feel that tall men should protect them, all the time, but sometimes that's not always the case because short men can, be the protector as well. So I just don't understand women's logic sometimes. And the same thing in the gay community or the lesbian community. They prefer someone that is, shorter than them or the same height, or sometimes someone prefer a taller guy or a taller female. So it's kind of like a hit or miss in the LGBT community. But in a straight community, like, all the women, they love tall men, so they can feel protected, which I don't understand. And most men prefer a short woman. It's rare to get someone that is the same height as you or 2 inches shorter than you are. But height is height. I feel like height should never undermine who you date or who you get yourself involved with, and accept that person for who they are. I think a lot of short guys, they have a lot. I think a lot, going against them because a lot of women doesn't like dating short men because they're afraid that their children will be short. But that's not always the case because I know there were short couples, who make a very tall son or daughter sometimes, and sometimes two tall people sometimes make tall children or short kids sometimes. It depends on the DNA, so it should never matter. But I'm doing this on this Valentine's Day video is because I feel like the person that you care about, you should never worry about his or her height. You should love them for them, to accept them for who they are, and it should never be a big factor whatsoever. Dating someone who is short or tall, or case of the matter is, like, I never dated a guy that was under 5'6" at all. Like, most of the men I dealt with was mostly over 5'6". Even the tallest guy who I wasn't even in a relationship with was 6'5". It scared me a little bit, but I was able to talk to him. But it was only a fling. It wasn't like a big serious thing at all. But I love everybody for who they are and for what they're worth. Everybody gotta be picky sometimes. You just can't date anything. But I feel like height should never matter in relationships. Towards somebody, it is important, and sometimes other individual, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But with me, I feel like height should never matter. You should never discriminate against anybody against their height because they can't help how tall they are. Even with me being over 5'10", I can't control that I have short parents and a tall individual who take height after my mom's side of the family. I was about to say my mom's line, but I take height after that side, and I can't control how tall I am because that's a little hard for me to explain. Sometimes short parents make short children. Depends on the DNA, and you should never discriminate against me towards that. I remember one time, back 10 years ago, I was walking down the street. I used to work at this college dining room place. I was about to say dining room table, but I was working at this college restaurant where I used to work through a temp agency, to trying to get hustle more money. And I remember one time I walked home because I didn't live that far from the U of R. I live about about 3 minutes away from the college, but walking distance is about 10, 15 minutes. It's not far. I remember one time I got off the bus, the dude, trying to scare me because the guy was a lot shorter than me. He was like, boom, like that towards me. And I looked at him and I just laughed. Like, it just didn't really bother me at all. Like, just because I'm a lot taller, you think I will be a lot, kind of like scared of you or something like that, or trying to scare me off, but it didn't really bother me. I just laughed, at it at the end of the day because it doesn't really bother me. It just didn't really intimidate me at all. So I was giving an example of, not to do when it comes to certain people of certain height or statue or built. And, I personally feel that, at the end of the day, height should never matter. And that happened to me at the festival years ago, when I was in my early 20s. I'm not too sure if it was the Pride Festival or some other festival that I went to back then, but that's what really happened towards me. And, women should never, discriminate a short guy against his height. I know there's some women, that tall women that is about around my height, that dated short men, um this rapper Easy E. Like, I remember one time I was watching this show on MTV called Exiled, where Easy E's daughter Aaron was the mother was very tall, a giant, but Easy E was very short and tiny, and a girl was short like the father. So, and he really loved her for who she was, not just because she's a giant, tall woman. She loved her for her personality, and having good traits, and not picking at her or attacking her because she's very different from him. And I remember my male cousin, Ray, who I haven't seen in about a couple years. I remember he told me that he was into tall women, and I remember, he was telling me that, tall women make him feel like a giant himself, even though he's short. He said that tall women make him feel like a man, like a someone that is the same height as he was. He felt like being with a tall woman makes him feel like a man. And when I first heard about it, I started dying laughing, because at that time I just didn't really understand that logic at all when he said that to me. Like, it just made me laugh a little bit. It really did. But I understand that he loved tall women. Like, he's really into them, and he really appreciated them for their long legs and their beauty and their other attributes that he likes within them. So it should never matter. And I even told him, I think your boys is gonna be tall, one day. I don't know, probably they will be tall or not. It doesn't, or to be short. We don't know. I don't know. So I told him that probably your boys will probably be tall as you are, because his ex is tall, and he told me that he likes tall women. So short men love tall women too, because tall people need love too. Just like how tall men love short women, like tall women should love tall men too. Like, it doesn't really matter. So I just wanted to put it in my Valentine's Day video to actually sum it up, that love should never matter when it comes to your height, your sex, your ethnicity, whatever. You should accept them for who they are, to love them for who they are. If you're really attracted to what they are inside, you should be attracted to them outside, but loving them for who they are, and to love them for their own personality, and to really get to know them, and to have a good time with them, and to get to know them little by little, and so forth. So I feel like height should never matter in a relationship. I feel like you should love them for who they are, and not to discriminate against them towards their height. And like, that happened to me twice, already. Like, oh, this dude is so tall. Like, I might be tall, but I'm not that tall. Like, I could see if I was 6'3" or 6'4". But but being 6 feet, 6'1", 6'2", that's tall. But for a woman, that's giant, especially over 5'9". That's a giant. That's a tall woman. Like, for a woman, that's very tall. That's being a giant. But for a man, that's tall. So I don't think it's a big deal at all. Like, if someone's scared of you or intimidated of you, that person should never be scared of you. That person should have the same energy that they have towards someone their height, and talk to them just how they did a short person, to the same thing with the tall person. So that should never matter at the end of the day. We all human. We come in different sizes, different heights, different weights, different ethnicities, different hair colors, everything else, and different body types. So that should never matter at all at the end of the day. We all human. We should love everybody for who they are. That always happens. Some people that discriminate against someone of a different stature or a different height. I personally feel that they being a jerk about it, and they're very close minded and don't care about the other person's feelings. And I just feel like some men or some women are very shallow. And I feel like there's some women that date short men, and there's some tall women that date tall men as well. But many of them, you know, date people that are shorter than them or taller than them, so they can feel protected, or to be the most dominant force in that relationship. Well, in a gay relationship, it's very different. And like in the gay world, short men or short women are considered fun size. And to me, when I first heard that, I'm like, that is so rude. You know, how you gonna call a short dude fun size? But some like the term and some don't. What if I was short? You know, I wouldn't like being called fun size because that would have been very uncomfortable for me to deal with, or a tall person being a jolly green giant. I remember the other day my cousin called me the jolly green giant. Like, I'm like, why are they calling me the jolly green giant? Because I'm tall? Like, come on, I don't think it's a big deal at all. Like, he always called me the jolly green giant. Like, I might be over 5'10" and 6 feet tall, but come on. Like, it just made me laugh when he said that, but I don't care. I can't control how tall I am, and you should love me for me, and that's that. So, I'm gonna cut it here. Happy Valentine's Day to all the lovebirds and the single people out there, and happy Hearts Day as well. Peace and love to everyone, especially on that special holiday. And I'm gonna say this: peace and love to everyone, and you guys have a very good morning. All right, good day, people. Peace to all.